Lankavatara Sutra Part 8. Moreover, Mahamati, there are two differences that characterize the Sharaka path. The differences in their attainments of the personal realization of Buddha knowledge and in their attainment of the existence of an imagined reality. And what is the different about a Sharaka's attainment of personal realization of Buddha knowledge? This refers to attaining stillness of mind in regard to the realms of impermanence, suffering, emptiness, and the absence of a self, in regard to these truths concerning the cessation and transcendence of desire, and in regard to the end of anything indestructible among the individual and shared characteristics of the skandhas, dhatus, and andyatas. And with the stillness of mind comes the liberation of dhyana and the final fruit of samadhi, and the deliverance of samapati. But while enjoying the bliss from the personal realization of Buddha knowledge, Sharvakas are not yet free of the habit energy or imperceptible transformation deaths. This is how a Sharvaka's attainment of the personal realization of Buddha knowledge differs. Mahamati, the bliss from the personal realization of the Buddha knowledge attained by the Bodhisattva differs in that they avoid the bliss of annihilation and the bliss of samapati, which they do not experience because of their compassion for others and their original vows. Mahamati, this is how the bliss attained by Sharvakas from the personal realization of Buddha knowledge differs. And this difference in the bliss from the personal realization of Buddha knowledge is not something Bodhisattvas should cultivate. Mahamati, what is meant by the attachment of Sharvakas to the existence of an imagined reality? This refers to knowing that the individual and shared characteristics of blue and yellow and red and white, and of solidarity and the moisture and warmth and the movement of the material elements arise without the Creator, as previous sages have declared, but upon seeing them, giving rise to projections of their self-existence. This is what is meant by the attachment of the Sharvakas to the existence of an imagined reality. This is something Bodhisattvas should understand and put an end to by getting rid of views concerning a self among the dharmas, along with all those concerning a self among persons, as they proceed to establish themselves in the sequence of stages. At that time, Mahamati Bodhisattva asked the Buddha, Bhagavan, the Tathagata teaches that what is eternal and inconceivable is the realm of ultimate truth. The realm of Buddha knowledge the realm of Buddha knowledge one realizes oneself. Bhagavan, do other schools not teach that this is the eternal and conceivable as is a cause? Buddha told Mahamati, Mahamati, your singing voice is a little off today. What are we going to do about that? Anyway, to answer your question, the cause of other schools does not qualify as eternal and inconceivable. And why not? Because what other schools claim is eternal and inconceivable is not the result of its own causal attribute. If what is eternal and inconceivable is not the result of its own causal attribute, on what basis does it appear as eternal and inconceivable? Furthermore, Mahamati, if what is inconceivable were the result of its own causal attribute, it would be eternal. But because it would be due to the causal attributes of a creator, it would not qualify as eternal and inconceivable. Mahamati, The reason my ultimate truth is eternal and inconceivable is because ultimate truth is the result of a causal attribute that transcends existence and non-existence. Because the attainment of personal realization is the attribute. It has an attribute. But because the knowledge of the ultimate truth is its cause, it has a cause. And because it is beyond existence and non-existence, it resembles what is not created, space, nirvana, and complete cessation. This is why it's eternal. Hence Mahamati. It is not the same as the doctrines about what is eternal and inconceivable of other schools. Thus, Mahamati, this eternal and inconceivable is attained by the personal realization of the knowledge of the Tathagatas. Therefore, the eternal and inconceivable attained by the personal realization of Buddha knowledge is what you should cultivate. Moreover, Mahamati, the eternal and inconceivable of members of other schools is impermanent, because it is caused by something else, and because it lacks the power to create its own causal attribute. So Mahamati, members of other schools consider their eternal and inconceivable as eternal despite having witnessed the impermanence of the existence and non-existence of what is created. Mahamati, despite having witnessed the impermanence of the existence and non-existence of what is created, I could use the same method to claim that the realm of Buddha knowledge realized by oneself is eternal and free from causes. Mahamati, if the eternal and inconceivable of other schools were the result of a causal attribute, and that causal attribute itself did not exist, it would be the same as horns on a rabbit. Their eternal and inconceivable would be merely words and imagination. This is the problem among members of other schools. And how so? Because what is merely words and imagination is the same as rabbit horns, for which is a causal attribute does not exist. My, what I speak of as eternal and inconceivable is eternal because it is based on the attribute of personal realization, and because it transcends the existence and non-existence of what is created. It is not in consideration of the impermanence of external non-existence that is eternal. Mahamati, if what is eternal and inconceivable were eternal in consideration of the impermanence of external non-existence, there would be no way to know the eternal and inconceivable's own causal attribute. My face is all in here. I don't want my face all in here. I'm too close to the camera and I'm getting distracted by looking at that. But we are just gonna soldier on. That was a timeout, guys. As this distracts people from the attainment of the personal realization of the realm of Buddha knowledge, it is not worth talking about. Furthermore, Mahamati, Sharyakas, who are afraid of the suffering that comes from their projection of samsara, seek nirvana, unaware that the difference between samsara and nirvana, as well as their projection of everything else, does not exist. They conceive of nirvana as a cessation of all future sensory realms, not a transformation of the repository consciousness through the personal realization of Buddha knowledge. Thus, ignorant people speak of three paths, and not of the projection-free realm that is nothing but mind. Mahamati, they therefore do not know the realm of mind perceived by the Tathagatas of the past, the present, and the future. Instead, They are attached to the perception of a realm outside the mind and keep turning the wheel of samsara. Furthermore, Mahamati, nothing arises. This is what the Tathagatas of the past and the present and the future teach. And how so? Because existence and non-existence are perceptions of one's own mind, the existence or non-existence of which does not arise. Mahamati, nothing that exists arises. Everything is like horns on a rabbit or a horse. The mistaken projections of an imagined reality by ignorant beings. Therefore, Mahamati, nothing that exists arises. The non-arising that characterizes all that exists. This is the personal realization of the realm of Buddha knowledge, not the dualistic realm of projections of the ignorant. The existence that characterizes such things as your body, your possessions, and the world around you, Mahamati, is the interplay of the grasping and the grasped of repository consciousness. Trapped by their dualistic views of origination, duration, cessation, and their wish for things to arise, and their wish for things to arise, the ignorant give rise to projections of existence and non-existence, not the wise. Mahamati, you should reflect on this in your practice. Furthermore, Mahamati, there are 5 lineages of realization. And what are the 5? They are the lineage of the Sharvaka realization, the lineage of Pratyeka Buddha realization, the lineage of Tathagata realization, the undeterminate lineage, and the distant lineage. How do we recognize the lineage of Sharavaka, someday I'm going to get that right, realization? Upon learning how to put an end to the individual and shared characteristics of the skandhas, dhatus, and jnanas, the hair on their entire body stands on end, and they delight in cultivating a knowledge of characteristics, but not in cultivating an awareness of dependent origination. This is what is meant by the lineage of the Sharaka realization. The realization of a Sharaka belongs to the 5th and 6th stages. They put an end to the arising of passion, but not to the habit energy of passion. They escape karmic deaths, but do not escape imperceptible transformation deaths. The bell of the alliance roar. My lives have ended. I have walked the path of purity. I will not suffer another existence. Thus, they cultivate the knowledge that there is no self among persons, and think that they have attained nirvana. Mahamai, those whose realization is distant also seek nirvana, but think of it in terms of a self, or a being, or a life, or individuality. And there are followers of still other paths who think everything depends on the Creator, and when its existence comes to an end, that is nirvana. Those who think like this are incapable of seeing that there is no self in dharmas, and for them, there is no liberation. Mahamai, these lineages of Sharaka realization and those of other schools do not depend on the concept of transcendence. You should practice with diligence to transform such pernicious views. In Part 8.